We are lit, man. What's up, y'all? This your guy, Mr. Lane. I am here with the Built to Last podcast, and our guest for today is none other than my guy, CBI alumni and Barbise, Eric Dayton, also known as E1. We are here today at Orange Studio.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This is awesome.
Yeah, I'm glad that you made time to hang out with us, man. It's been a minute since we got a
It has
chance to
been.
chop it up.
Yep.
You've been super busy ever since you graduated.
Yep.
And man, I know that things have been amazing here at Orange Studio. For those of you guys that don't know about Orange Studio, Dayton, you want to tell them a little bit
Yeah,
about your space here?
we're down in the South Waterfront in Portland, Oregon. Our kind of three things that we do: we're a luxury salon, a modern barber shop, and a fine boutique. So we sell clothes, jewelry, all sorts of stuff here, and artwork.
Absolutely,
Yep.
man. In short words, it's just a super dope space that does a lot of amazing things, man. So absolutely delighted to be here and excited to be here for this. This is our second episode, and I thought it only right. We started the first one off with the youngest graduate of CBI, and I think this might be the oldest graduate
I'm
of CBI.
sure I am.
But super dope, opportunity to have a conversation with someone that has done plenty of things in life, had an opportunity to live and experience some different things, but chose barbering as of recent to bring back to his salon and his business and add to, your brand.
Yeah,
Right. So we're going to talk about that some, and yeah, let's get to it.
that's it.
All right. So your journey is unique. So I'm gonna just read straight from here. We're gonna keep the questions, on point. We ain't gonna freestyle it. All right. That's one thing about being built to last. Ain't no freestyling. We're gonna do things strategic and calculated. Okay. So first question: your journey is unique. Barbering isn't just a skill; it's an art. This is the art gallery, right? What drew you to incorporate barbering into your established business, and how has it shaped how you express yourself as an artist and entrepreneur?
Well, I think first and foremost, I've been in the industry 15 years. So this salon started 15 years ago. So I was behind the scenes, love the industry as a whole. Barbering didn't come on my radar until probably like 10 years in.
Okay.
We weren't doing barbering, and we weren't really servicing men's style at any level here. It's mostly cuts and colors and
Okay.
high-end women's stuff, blowouts, things like that. So I saw it as an opportunity
Right.
to kind of expand the brand. Also wanted to participate. I was in a professional transition myself from my traditional career, and I'm an artist by trade, so I liked the tools and the ethos around barbering. And then I found you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And that was the beginning of the journey. for
Yeah.
that, yeah.
For sure, man. And finding us, I definitely wasn't by mistake. Finding barbering, I always like to believe it's not by mistake either. And it's so much that not only you gain from becoming a professional barber, but the industry as a whole gains by you becoming a professional barber. I tell people a lot of times the experience of having you in the school was so rare because you had lived and you had experienced. Transitioning from that to becoming coming in as a novice, right? Not knowing anything hands-on wise about barbering, never had cut hair before. That had to be humbling.
It was.
How was that to go from a space of actually being very experienced to not being experienced at all?
Yeah, it was. It was in my wheelhouse in one way because I thrive off of the unknown. I think that energy of that vulnerability exposes kind of like your true grit in a way. But I remember the day you were there, the first one, I choked. I remember that guy walked in, you're like, dang! And I looked, you saw it in my eyes.
It was time.
And then you went, oh, you're going over there. But I take that and I remember that, and like everything that I approach now, I remember that moment and that day, and I tell myself I'm not doing that again. But it also means like getting the chops up, machine time. It taught me to just cut hair. Don't worry about it. It's a journey. You're gonna get better. And honestly, like honestly, in the last 4 weeks, I feel like my fades are good. Like I got it.
And how long have you been done with school?
Well, 8 months.
8 months now.
Into a
Okay.
year, yeah.
Okay.
So it took me a bit, and also I'm running this place, so my time's limited.
Got a lot on your plate.
And so you got to get as many heads as possible. You got to feel that. It's like there's so much feel between your hand and that tool and their head, that you got to get.
There's a connection there.
There's a connection there, and when you feel it, but
Right.
you got to get through some heads to feel it.
And that's, it's so funny that you say that. I often talk about that moment when you're a student and everything kind of clicks. Like there's a moment, man, when the coach sees the student or the player, however you want to look at it, when they actually learn the skill and they put everything together.
Yeah.
And it's a special moment from my end to
I
see.
bet, yeah,
and
yeah.
I know it's even more confirming the special moment on your end when you know, all right,
Yeah.
I got this.
And I live for that moment. I love
Yeah.
new things.
Yeah.
For that moment, and it makes me excited now, and I volunteer once a month too. I do a Portland homeless youth center.
Oh, that's great. Yeah,
And
I know I've seen that.
Yeah,
actually.
yeah. So I'm there last Thursdays, and I get to do like 10 heads, all different types of hair types, all different things get thrown at you. But doing that for the last 6 months has given me the most, like, just experience, because it's like they're not gonna be mad.
Right.
But now I don't feel like I'm chopping up the hair hard. I feel like that it's much smoother. They do stuff I don't get normally do. So a lot of undercuts, a lot of like 90s skater cuts and stuff.
So speaking of that, I know that gives you some freedom to kind of explore some things. But what is it about that opportunity of volunteering that makes you really want to do that?
I had early mentors early in my life, and it's just something I've always done. I think volunteering is super important. I think community building is super important. I think it's part of having purpose. I wake up and I know who I am and what I'm doing based off of those things.
Right.
And you can't, especially homeless youth, like just light up when they get a good haircut. You're giving somebody confidence. You want confidence. It's just
a reciprocation, right?
It's a reciprocation,
Yeah.
and it's part of that karma, man. Give it back.
And I think that's one of those things that when it comes to being built to last, that's one of the characteristics that go into that is being willing to give.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Being willing to share your skill set. And I also think about when someone is building a foundation, right? They can decide, am I building this just to get through it because we got 200 of them that we need to build? Or am I building this to last the test of time and, nature or whatever the case may come? And that's how we, as barbers, if you can think like that from the beginning, am I building this career to last and be impactful and be able to weather the storms that come? Or am I just, jumping out here? And I feel like those things, that volunteering early is a part of building it to last, right?
And I've met so many people through it. It's just networking too. I enjoy it, and I mean, I've been doing it long enough. Like money comes and goes. Like if you're chasing the dollar, you're gonna be one. You're always gonna be a step.
You're gonna come and go just with it. Yeah. Yeah. Good stuff, man. Okay, let's see here. What we got next? As a business owner, how has your barbering education provided the foundation needed to expand your services and appeal to a broader clientele?
Yeah, I think, I think what was unique about Champions is you are in a barber shop.
Yeah.
You throw us right in. So you understand the cycle of services. You understand, a little more of the mechanics. And I mean, like I had no barber. I've never had my hair barbered, and I've never held a pair of
As
clippers.
you can see.
Exactly.
And his handle is, tell him your Instagram, man.
I'm longhair.barber.
Yeah.
So I'm owning the long hair barber scene.
Yeah. Hair ain't going nowhere.
So that was good, to kind of understand how that could work here. In here, it was a different service. I had to kind of really launch what we call a barbershop within Orange Studio, so that it felt a little more special and a more positioned within this business. And that was easier to market to my existing clients, who are mostly women who have sons and husbands or significant others who are going to wherever they're going for no particular reason or loyalty. to people who love this place, and they're telling hey, you got to go try out Eric.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that was my whole marketing, and that was everything. And so that's what we've been doing, just building it from the inside. We're in a nice neighborhood, but it's not a walk-in neighborhood.
Right.
And so you have to pull them in differently. And so it has those kinds of pros and cons.
And I feel like you being able to see that there's like built-in clientele within the clientele you already had, by servicing majority of women, but knowing that they're attached to sons and husbands and cousins and uncles and all that type of stuff. I mean, that is a clientele that was just waiting to be served.
Exactly.
If the women love this environment, and even, the people attached to them would come here, but they couldn't get service, but they love being here.
Yeah.
It was like we have to.
It was like instant referral is what it was.
Yeah.
How I looked at it. It's like you want a good referral from somebody who loves what you're already doing in that space. So
good stuff, man.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I like this one. What advice would you give to aspiring barbers or salon owners about creating a business that is truly built to last? Again, before you answer that, you've been here now, this particular business, 15 years?
15 years, yeah.
Okay. Prior to that, though, you also have run some businesses that have done really well, right? So talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess starting with, I had 1 year of art school under my belt. And that's my education. I barely made it to high school.
The foundations, fundamentals.
But it is because, I'll give my dad some credit. He was an entrepreneur, so he let me trying business out wasn't a foreign concept because I saw him do it and I saw him pivot. I saw him look at market opportunity in his immediate self.
Yes.
And change through that. So that was like something I just learned watching him. So that helped. And then if your only service in the world is your own creativity, you learn business backwards.
Yes.
By necessity.
Yeah.
And so that helped, right? I think a big thing though is when you look back, it's a journey no matter what you do. If it, a company is always like an extra person. I always say it's the other teammate. So people look at it and appreciate it like a friend and not something you're working for. And so that it's part of us.
Something you're working with.
Yeah, it's something you're working with.
Good stuff, yeah.
And so, but when you look back, I think the biggest thing is don't look back at like, oh, I had all these failures. Be proud of all the attempts. Because it's like, you don't wake up in the day and go, I can't wait to fail. You go like, I can't wait to try this.
Right.
And I think that's the energy you need because business is hard. It's unforgiving, but you can think around it. You can get it going. Yeah. But it does take a special personality to constantly be on the look, right? You're just always like, what's going on? How am I doing it? But as an individual, as like a barber or somebody within that business, we do things different here. I run it so alluding to my past, I had an agency, a creative agency. So we run this. This is a creative studio. Yeah. We run it very differently. It is a commissioned salon, but everybody's aware of our expenses. Yes. I'm transparent about everything. They know what they make. We work 4 days a week. We have we're a small team, 4 days a week on the high end of the market. Yeah. And so it takes
strategically
everybody to keep that going though. You can't take that for granted. Because of short days, small teams equal really, your expenses are more. And so if you can make that work, it's a good life-work balance. And for me personally, I always love just coming to work and people. I love that I get to meet all these different people. It's helped me in so many ways, like my memory. You start to remember people, you start to get into your day. And I get to work with my wife, and we have some excellent teammates that we've all had. Everybody here has been here 10 years, Yeah. Everybody makes
don't want to go nowhere.
No, yeah. We carved it out here.
That's a great, indication that you're building something that people want to be a part of. You know what I mean? That's built to last is when people don't want to go anywhere. Yeah. You know what I mean? Especially if it's doing well. Yeah. And the fact that you can be transparent about how the business is ran, how the expenses look, and people are like, okay, I understand why we do things the way we do things. If we do it this way, we all can win.
Yeah, everybody
that's
knows their place here. Everybody feels like they're contributing. You know, and I have a file cabinet full of people who didn't make it. So you got to learn. You can't sacrifice the culture because you need that team member because we need to make more money. It'll come with authenticity. It'll come, or it won't, and then you do something different.
Good stuff. Yeah, that's great. That's great.
But don't compromise.
That's great. All right, let's see. Got a couple more for you. You good?
I'm good. Let's do it.
All right, cool. Hope you guys are enjoying this too, man. Understand, like, it's not often that we get to talk to successful entrepreneurs that decided to become professional barbers. Oftentimes, it's people that were in positions that they were unhappy with, unfulfilled with, that decide to become professional barbers. Those are great conversations as well, great stories. But this conversation comes from a different type of background, right? That had some experience in running business and being successful in it. So take heed to these words and this guidance that you guys are hearing today. All right. So this next one, how has combining barbering with your artistic background challenged you to redefine what luxury or excellence means in the industry or in your industry?
Well, let's see. So I think there's always, there's definitely the cut, like the skill level, the fit, the finish, and the overall kind of experience in the chair. And then it's like everything else. So for here and what we do, lots of events. So with the art, we do the art openings. People feel like they're in a different space when they're here because it doesn't smell.
Yeah, I remember.
Like
I remember coming to that one last year. I believe it was. That was amazing. That was super dope.
So people feel like they're part of a creative conversation that's just always going here. We do a lot of photo shoots, so all this stuff around here is all stuff.
Yeah, you guys, we'll show you guys around at the end of the video.
Yeah, so that's a big part of just the culture here is keeping it mixed up. Just not the grind.
Yeah.
Our clientele is a lot. There's a lot of different people here. Barbering's been good for the overall experience because it's different. It's a different vibe. And so.
It's a different piece of art.
And it's a different way of cutting, so everybody's interested, and now I'm learning from them, so, I'm going to continue my education. I start the apprenticeship with my wife in April to learn long cuts and everything, but I'm going to stay focused on barbering, but we do, it's just a new way of cutting too, so if you're into cutting, it's cool to watch somebody else do something different.
Yeah,
you gain that experience just
and it's things that you when you are a stylist, right, that cuts longer hair, and that's what you've been doing for years, and you've never even been in the environment of what barbering is, and then finally on the day-to-day you start seeing, oh, this is what barbering looks like on a regular basis. Like, I think it's a eye-opener.
Totally.
You know what I mean? And same thing for any barber that goes into a salon or a place where they're doing more longer cuts. It's like, oh, I never knew this is what all goes into this. You know what I mean? So
exactly.
Definitely an eye opener.
And it's distinctively different, which is nice, which is cool. It's nice working next to my wife because she'll look over and when I finally nail that face, she's like, oh yeah, and you can see it when it's done right.
Yeah. And I feel like you can define. This is an opportunity for you to define like what barbering looks like at Orange Studio.
Yeah.
Right? What barbering looks like at Champion's Barbershop is one thing. What barbering looks like at Supercuts is something completely different, right? And what barbering looks like here at Orange Studio, is going to have that level of luxury. It's going to have that level of artistry, you know what I mean, that the brand represents. So
exactly.
I think it's super dope. And I told you that when you first came, I was like, wow, you have a great opportunity.
I know we did talk about
to
that.
just enhance, your brand, and then just bring another level to barbering in itself. So.
This kind of environment too has been nice with pricing. So it's you can I start on the higher end and they don't question it because they're used to this environment. So I don't have to do a 30-minute $40 service 10 times a day. You know.
What are you charging?
So 65 shortcuts, 75 for long cuts.
Okay.
And right now, because I have to run the business, I'm just open in the middle of the days, so 11 to 3, and so I'm up to being full now for all those days.
Good stuff.
So
Let's talk about that real quick.
Yeah.
And I think this will be a good way to kind of sum this up. Running the business. I heard you say that a couple times. I'm also, a barbershop owner, school owner that works within as well. I don't work within the barbershop anymore, but I did for many, many years. And I don't think those that have never done it truly understand what it means to run the business while also working in the business. Can you just talk about some of the highlights of that, and then also some of the challenges with that?
Yeah. Again, I think my prior business experience helped me set the stage for opening a salon in a very business-like way. So, like, what are my positions? What are those job descriptions? How do I fund it? How do I negotiate a lease? Like, those are basics to opening a salon or opening any business.
Any business, yeah.
But you learn that you are an owner. You need to treat everybody with respect that you might not get back.
Very true. Very true.
Because it's hard to understand what we're looking at in through an employee or another person's eyes. We are here first in the morning. We get paid last. We figure out how to fund things when the funds aren't there. All these things, and you just gotta like it.
Yeah.
You
gotta be okay with it.
You gotta be okay with it.
Yeah, you gotta be okay with it.
Or don't do it. Because you're gonna make yourself miserable, and you're gonna make the people that work for you miserable. And there's a lot of, that's why we started a salon, because my wife was bopping around to salons were just terribly run or very toxic. We're not toxic here. You can't even play that game here.
Right.
And that's super important.
There's
Transparency,
a standard there,
authenticity, and just respect. Everything else follows.
And remember, he said these are things that he made sure of on the onset that were in place. It wasn't, building that plane while you're flying it type of situation. While some people do well doing that, his experience in business he already knew that's not how we're doing this, right? We're going to do this up front the way that it needs to be done. We're going to build it to last. We're going to have things structured, planned, and in place so this thing can last and have longevity and also thrive for you as the owner and thrive for those that work within the business. And so, guys, when we talk about being built to last, these are things that have to be thought about. These are things that have to be understood and put into action.
Yep.
And based off of what we see here, the vibe that we have here, the success that you have here, you can tell that you've done very well at understanding those things. Yeah, man. Again, I'm proud of you. Proud of you.
Thankful for you, man. You got me
you
here.
You came to the school, man. Like I said, a novice.
It was fun. I had a good time.
You brought such a great energy. I think about that a lot. You were the only person as close to age as I was.
I know.
You know what I mean? We could actually throw.
I was listening.
We could throw stuff back and forth.
What's your question?
Yeah, man. You was in school. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I was.
And that's hard for some people to do. It's even some young folks. It's like, bro, you wasn't even too far out of school, and you can't come back to school. You hadn't been to school in I don't know how long.
30 years, literally. 30 years.
But you came.
But I was like, I'm gonna do it right this time.
Yeah, and you were an amazing student, man. You offered so much. Valued experience and feedback on so many different levels, man. And I'll always appreciate that. Yeah. And, as we get things going for 2025, I'd love to have you come into the school and chop it up. And, man, I just look forward to you continue to be great.
Yeah.
And thank you for joining the Built to Last podcast. And we'll see you guys on the next one. Again, Eric Dayton, Orange Studio.
Long hair barber.
Peace.
Be great.
Be great.